Welcome back to the AM show. Now time for some headlines. We start with our sister station, My Joy Online. And over here we're reading Woman Murders Boy 3.
Aisha, you're not telling us why we are going online. The newspapers, they decided not to come.
They are on break.
They are enjoying.
They are still enjoying their holiday.
Sleeping.
You have decided to choose this kind of job. So you want everybody to join you in executing your task.
So because the newspapers are unavailable today, we are doing the online review. And indeed, we are starting off with My Joy Online, the most credible online news portal in the country currently.
Of course, and like I said, we're told that Woman Murders Boy 3 over grudge with mother. I can't understand why.
I don't know how to describe it.
Just the beginning of a new year, someone will decide to do this, but I think that we'll be going into the story.
So she murdered the boy for what?
The story says he's been... Oh, well, I don't have the story, but I'll go back to that story. Let's look at
I got a bit of that story early on, and what the story was actually saying was that the lady in question has a problem with the mother of that particular boy. She claims she was accused falsely for A, B, or C, so she actually did that to the guy to teach his mother
a lesson. Wow!
Can you imagine?
She must rot in jail.
Can you imagine? So you think about some of these things.
This is not enough reason for you to murder 3 years old. What I mean, this is
so you have a problem with him with his mother.
Children start paying for their parents' sins. Yeah. Oh,
unless of course in the biblical context where there are generational cases anyway. That aside, I really think she needs to.
The lady doesn't have a child.
I doubt she does. Oh. I don't think she values human life.
She must rot in jail.
Oh, not necessarily rot, but she should spend some time in jail.
Not
at least
some time. No, if possible, she should face the same sentence: murder.
Murder. She should be killed.
She should be killed. Why should
Are we still killing people? Are we still killing people?
I think for that one, we've revised our notes on that. So in Ghana, we don't actually see those things. But I mean, there are a lot of ways to kill a cat.
I see.
We won't kill you, but we'll give you slow.
You even wish you were dead.
You now rot in prison because you can't do this and leave.
Indeed.
How would you leave? You know, always. Well, some people can live with it, but always, you know, having the. Always reminding yourself of the fact that I killed someone and I am leaving.
Yeah. She actually gave the baby a poisonous substance. Wow. The baby took the poison and died soon after.
She's wicked. She's wicked, and anyway. I think the law must take its course. The other stories here: police officer allegedly rapes JHS1 students.
Yes, so. You know, I don't know. You see, let me use this account phrase. You see, I feel and this is how we are starting 2015. It's amazing.
So who arrests the policeman?
No institution has been able to do that. The police polices the police.
The police polices the police.
And we are told.
The PIPs doesn't work.
Oh yeah, they say it works.
You sure?
They say it works.
I think there's always conflicts of interest because sometimes they do cover-ups and all of that for their colleagues. Well, so we hear. I can't, evidently say that, but that's what we hear. But of course, analyze the issues and realize that, look, you and your colleague, we are best friends, so and something like this happened. I mean, the probability of being biased is there. It's very high, and so we won't be wrong if with them, but we don't have the evidence.
True.
Let's look at
before you move on. You know, with that particular story, the police defiling. Should I call it defilement? I think it's defilement. Yes, it should be defilement because the lady is just about 14 years or so.
Yeah, so that constitutes defilement.
And the issue here is the parents and siblings of the lady actually took this lady to the police officer and said, you know what, please discipline her for us. And that was his mode of discipline. Discipline, indeed.
He's a very good disciplinarian.
Indeed, he disciplined the lady. I have no idea why people, when people revere you in society, you should be happy about it. You should be thankful to God. There's no point in belittling yourself and doing some of these things. Indeed.
Disciplinarian.
He's a disciplinarian. Disciplinarian of the year.
Now, Nkonya Alavanyo let peace prevail. That's according to Volta clergy. And the clergy in the Volta region call for calm between feuding factions in the Alavanyo and Nkonya communal conflict as the new year begins. But come to think of this Nkonya and Alavanyo thing, I think it's getting out of hand though.
Indeed.
Because when it all started, we thought it was just going to, and even recently when they signed a peace pact,
yeah.
and they even formed a football team as a sign of unity. It was called Alanko. The Alanko football team.
So Nkonya and Alavanyo, Nkonya, Alanko.
Exactly.
Okay.
But we don't know what happens. I mean, why does it keep recurring?
Yeah, and even yesterday we were picking signals of some sort of disturbance yet again in the same area. As to what really the issue was, I'm not in the knowing, but it's really
quite
sad
disturbing
that we're thinking we had left behind a number of things in 2014. We're moving towards a new year. We had a fresh start. We're hoping that all the pacts that were signed, all the agreements that were held, all the meetings that were held, and all the consensus that we built will actually move forward. But some way, somehow, we are starting the year and hearing of some of these things. But
it's
indeed,
very disturbing.
But I think it's a good call by the clergy.
Yeah,
you know,
so I just hope it will make an impact, because we've had such calls, you know, over the years and over the period that they've been rekindling the fights between them. I'm just hoping that, because sometimes these people believe in opinion leaders, they believe in their leaders so much. So I'm hoping that this time around it will work out, because every now and then you hear there's a curfew there, there's this, how many people are dead. I think that it's not a good thing that we should even start the year with. So we're hoping that the call will yield some results. But over here we have the other headline talking about 10% petrol price reduction won't affect prices of goods. I think earlier on when you were reading the news, you talked about it. Why shouldn't it affect? You see, there's one behavior about Ghanaians, I mean, as a trend, and I have been following the trend. That's, I mean, it's Ghanaians are quick to increase prices of goods, even if there's 1% increment on fuel. But once the prices drop, no way.
No reduction.
We must stick to our old prices, you know. And so I think 10% is quite significant, that if we're reducing foodstuffs by 10%, I think it will help us in our pockets. Don't you think so?
Well, I to an extent I agree with you. But,
against the background that our salaries were not increased.
Oh, okay.
And then we're still coping with the increment in petroleum prices. So if they have dropped,
but you know when petrol prices were actually increased via some 10% or so, there wasn't a corresponding increment in the fares, in transport fares. You know, so they were told that they had spoken to the various unions, and the unions had agreed not to increase their prices. So I think it will be a bit unfair on their part to actually force them to review prices downwards. But anyway, we are being told that on the 7th or so, there's going to be a review of trotro fares. The GPRTU is giving us that information. So let's see what happens. Obviously, we might have some 10% or 20%
that
reduction.
Definitely must happen. Otherwise, we will still record the confusion between passengers and drivers.
I don't know what happened though. Yesterday, okay, I didn't pass by any trotro station. I really would have enjoyed the kind of...
definitely. That one you should expect it. It's always like that. It's always like that, especially when it comes to money. So we're now moving on to City FM Online, and the first headline is that West African media must not fail. That's according to Citizens. We'll be looking into the story very...
I think that's the call by the Media Foundation for West Africa.
Yeah,
I think their executive director, he's actually saying that politicians have failed Africans, so the onus now lies on we, the journalists, the media, to actually not fail the countries, the various African countries.
Because it looks like they're building so much trust in journalists to be able to rescue the country. And so we must also not fail. If we fail, then it means that the whole country is collapsing.
Indeed, it has gotten to a point where...
it's gotten to a point that we have become the voice for the voiceless. And so the day that voice shuts up, it means that things will crumble. And I think that it's a good call for all of us to work hard.
Just to tie in with this, you know, that's why many people are saying that the media is supposed to be neutral. So it's rather worrying when certain politicians take stakes in the media.
Yeah.
You know, they own media empires now. You know, they own sections of the media. So if your boss is a politician and he is in power and he's doing something wrong, how dare you criticize your boss? You know, so many are saying that it's high time we actually got the politicians out of the picture and just allowed entrepreneurs to actually run the various media outlets in Africa.
And of course, in journalists doing so, you know, we involve the citizenry a lot.
True.
We don't do things all by ourselves. I think mostly we don't even put our opinions there. It's the opinion of the public.
People.
We speak for the public. Indeed. What the public says, they speak through us, isn't it? And so if we don't have to, they are we owe them. We are accountable to them. And so if we fail them, like I said, the whole system is crumbling.
Okay.
And
Media
we're
Foundation
also
for West
told
Africa.
that,
But aside these calls, what else do they do? We are told they monitor and they come up with some 1, 2, or 3 stuff. But really, do we feel their
we
impact?
haven't seen much of them over the years, but I think that they're also doing some marvelous job over there. Okay. What they need to do is to actually intensify, because I know they organize trainings and workshops for journalists to, you know, keep them up to date on stuff and how to handle stuff.
That's a good thing.
I think in 2015 they should rather do more of such things. We're told that Mahama needs our support, NDC to Ghanaians, and you see the picture of
Johnson,
the General Secretary, General Mosquito.
Indeed.
And he's making that call that Ghanaians must support Mahama. And then right beneath it I think we talked about it yesterday, that Mahama says that I will banish Dumso forever. We're all hoping.
That's on which website?
That's on CTFM.
Oh, okay, they are late anyway. We did it here yesterday, some 24 hours ago.
Anyway. Okay, so then we have Ebola death toll nears 8,000. That is according to WHO. That's a whooping
8,000 people.
Very, very scary.
I'm telling you.
Very scary. And we
you know,
God
tying it in with that, the president not too long ago, in fact, just on the 31st night, mentioned that the country's ability to swerve Ebola, let me use that word, swerve Ebola, was via divine intervention. That's what he says, was by divine intervention, because he really, looking at it, even Ghana is a hub for these Ebola centers. These Ebola centers, you know, they bring some of the things in and they transport them to the various countries that have been struck by Ebola. Some way, somehow, people leave the country, come back, and no such thing happens. We don't record any cases of Ebola. So indeed, I think I need to agree with the president on this, by divine intervention. But I think we've also done something. We've also done some work. A lot of preparatory work was done just in case we were to record any case of Ebola. The country seemed prepared. So I think that's a feather in the cap of the government. They did quite well in that regard.
So let's cross borders and look at the VOA. What's the VOA, Voice of America, saying? It says suicide bomber strikes near Nigerian church. In Nigeria, we're always recording these kind of things. It's either Boko Haram or suicide bombers. We pray that all of these, because it's a sister nation, and so if all of these are happening there, we become scared. It's scary.
You know, many people didn't really enjoy Christmas in Nigeria because they were, I think on Wednesday there was a suicide bomb attack. On Thursday also there was another. So I don't know. It's really.
I think that the country's government needs to set up, because a whole lot of stuff happened there. I know it has a very big population, but government must really set up, because if you look at this issue of the girls that were held by the Boko Haram.
And ladies that were kidnapped.
The other issues that happen, you realize that government needs to do more. Even though they keep assuring the people that we are doing ABC, I must congratulate them for containing the Ebola virus.
That was a good thing. It was really quick.
That was very good of Nigeria. But when it comes to security issues, I think they need to do more. They need to do more. And I won't be, I think it would be good if probably they require assistance from other African countries, because I can see that probably they are overwhelmed with the issue. And so if they get, aid from other African countries, that will help that country a lot, because security is not the best in Nigeria.
But looking at how far Boko Haram has come, well, I think it lends credence to some of the things many people are saying, that there seem to be people within the government who are actually supporting these people.
Definitely.
Because some way, somehow,
I can see
just look at this situation.
This small group can be so powerful than the whole country's government.
Looking at this situation where they abducted the ladies in broad daylight. They drove a van, got to a school, people were around.
And just parked them like sardines.
Put them in the vehicle and just left. And people were watching
I mean,
how?
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's one needs to be investigated. They need to probe into it, because definitely there are some influential people over there who are empowering these people and giving them that kind of edge to be able to operate. How can a terrorist come daylight and start misbehaving when government has government security agencies? They have all the equipment, they have all the weapons. Where do these people get their weapons?
Obviously, a distress call must have been placed somewhere along the line.
And you see how they operate. It's like there's information. The communication is very smooth. And if some of the information, they must come from government officials, very influential people. They have those kind of information, and so for those people to be able to get those information and then work with it, then
means they obviously have a source.
They have a source, and I think the Nigerian government once again must look into it. Well, I pray that those people who have to look into it should not be the same people involved in this. Then it means that we will not make any headway. And we are told that DRC rebels face deadline to disarm.
As the Democratic Republic of Congo. Okay. Quite some rebels there trying to cause a lot of
so you realize that it's not only Nigeria. Other African countries also face their own problems with these terrorists, especially in Mali and Somalia. Those rebels have not. I'm trying to get to the BBC and get some quick headlines there, but anyway, my internet is failing me, so I think
if they won't allow us to do the headlines from BBC, then we'll just proceed to get ready for AM Talk. And today on AM Talk, we'll be having James Kobna Bonfair of the CPP, the Convention People's Party. And we'll also be having Amwako Chum. He's a member of the New Patriotic Party. He will also be joining us for AM Talk. And I hear you're doing something on mining today.
Yeah, we're talking.
That's on my banner. I shall be having something on mining.
We'll be doing small-scale mining.
Small-scale mining. The Galamsey thing.
The Galamsey thing. You know how it's affected us as a country.
At the point in time, I considered investing in Galamsey operations.
You're kidding me. You wouldn't do that.
No, but there are legal aspects of it.
Yes, there are legal aspects of it, and of course it's quite lucrative. But if you need to wait for a long time for it to yield, otherwise if you're expecting to go in tomorrow and just tomorrow you yield your dividend, then I'm sorry. You need to be patient to wait for quite some time for it to yield the results. But you see, it's the legalized aspect of it. We don't see much of it. We rather see the illegal part of it, which is Galamsey. And the sad part is that a lot of children are also involved. At a point, the president also formed a task force to help check this Galamsey thing. We don't know what has come of those the task force.
I think we probably need to follow up on that.
We don't know what they've been doing, and whether the issue of Galamsey has been uprooted, we don't even know. So today we'll be interrogating those issues.
So you see how passionate she is about this whole small-scale mining thing. So just stay tuned. My banner will be up shortly. Aisha Ibrahim will be having a discussion with people from the small-scale mining industry. But before then, there's AM Talk, as I mentioned earlier. So we'll be right back after this with AM Talk.